Welcome to the Stoic Responder Podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Healy. As a special agent who spent more than 15 years conducting large-scale fraud, money laundering, and public corruption investigations, Stoic philosophy provided a mindset edge that became the foundation of my professional success. My mission today is to share those same ancient mindset lessons with you so that you can turn obstacles into opportunities and adversity into advantage. Time to muster up. All right, folks, welcome back to the Stoic Responder Podcast. This is episode 26, and I'm your host, Christopher Healy. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, you may notice a different background. This is the home office at our condo in Central Florida, and we're going to try to get through this one without the dogs barking at people in the parking lot and everything else. There's no guarantee that this is going to be a one-take deal, but we're going to power on. So, listen, folks. I send out a newsletter. I send out a Substack at least once a week, sometimes multiple times a week. I think last week I sent out 2 of them. This week I've already sent out 1. I typically send out my newsletter and my Substack writing on Mondays, and then the podcast goes out Tuesday through Friday via Substack as well. So if you're not subscribing to Substack, you want to subscribe because or you want to find me on LinkedIn and subscribe to my newsletter, which is oftentimes the same content or very similar content to what I send out on Substack. The reason you want that is because I try to teach leadership lessons through the eyes of the Stoics in more long-form writing. And by long-form, I mean we're talking like 500 words, 600 words, nothing that you're going to have to sit down with a thesaurus to read or anything like that. It's pretty quick hits, but I teach leadership lessons through the Stoics in the written form via Substack, via my LinkedIn newsletter. And I approached this same topic that we're going to talk about today in my newsletter this week, but I used a different quote. I used a Marcus Aurelius quote to talk about it. I approached it from a slightly different perspective. So if you want multiple perspectives, if you want to look at this from different ways after you listen to this podcast, go over to my LinkedIn, find me on there. I'll accept your connection request or friend request or whatever it's called on LinkedIn. You can join my newsletter there, or you can just go over to Substack and you subscribe absolutely for free, and you will get my weekly leadership lessons, my weekly Stoic leadership lessons. But we're going to dig in on this idea of, will it make the boat go faster? This is, as I said, episode 26. It is Tuesday. Let's dive in. All right. Starting you off with a quote from Seneca: enjoy present pleasures in such a way as to not injure future ones. Folks, this is such an easy concept. We talk about this in terms of our health. You don't want to be a glutton in the present because it sets you up for health issues down the road. It sets you up for chronic health conditions down the line. If you were during the pandemic, if you recall, people with comorbidities, people who had poor health going into the pandemic were more likely to get very sick or die or deal with symptoms long after they had quote unquote recovered, versus people who entered the pandemic with a baseline of fitness, got through it better. Even if they contracted COVID or got sick, they got through it better than folks who went into it with obesity issues, with all these various issues linked to obesity, right? Those comorbidities are what killed. And so I think it's important for us when we talk about a quote like this to understand it through that modern context, right? It's not just health. How about our wealth? Money saved today versus money pissed away on some, bauble from Amazon is money that you might need down the road. It's money that might, if you're disciplined about how you save it, how you invest it, might purchase you something that pays dividends versus pissing it away along that path, right, on a daily basis. So we can take this quote from Seneca and we can recognize it through a couple of different lenses. Here's another way to look at it on top of those obvious ones. I want you to think back to the 2000 Olympic Games. If you're old enough to see them, they were in Sydney, Australia, and it was a great Olympics, actually. It was a tough one to watch because they're other side of the world. But during the 2000 Olympic Games in Sydney, the British rowing team kind of had a coming out party. And the British rowing team was not successful in the century leading up to it. I forget exactly how long it had been since they had won a gold medal, but it had been quite some time. And so going into the 2000 Sydney Olympic Games, the British rowing team got a new coach, this guy, Jürgen Grobler. And he basically said, look, if you want to get on the podium, if you want to win gold, we need to filter every single question, every single every single thing about our training through a single question, a single metric, and that is, will it make the boat go faster? And if the answer to that question is yes, we should do that thing. If the answer is no, we should not. So whenever they face decisions about training methods, about nutrition, about rest, or about any of the other factors that could potentially impact their performance in the boats, this single question served as their powerful reminder to prioritize actions in the present that would directly contribute to their ultimate goal of winning a race in the future. Right? So they not only were they not they were enjoying present pleasures in such a way as to not injure future ones, but they were actually doing things in the present with the intention of impacting the future in a positive way, which is a slightly different way to approach that Seneca quote. So again, Grobler used this single question, this single metric. Will it make the boat go faster? Now, we could use a whole bunch of different metrics. We'll get into those in just a little bit here. But for the British, the people who won gold in Sydney after so many years of not winning, the singular focus worked. Everything that they did, every metric, will it make the boat go faster? Do I want to go out tonight, have beers? Somebody's asking me. Is that going to make the boat go faster? Right? Am I going to be ready to attack my practice tomorrow? Am I going to get a good night's sleep, or am I going to be up too late? Am I going to have a crappy quality sleep because alcohol does that to you? Am I going to be hungover tomorrow? Am I losing 2 days of training? Today, the day that I drink, and tomorrow, the day that I have to recover, right? And so if you ask yourself that single focused question, will this make the boat go faster? The answer is an easy no. No, I don't want to go out tonight. I've put this metric in place that's filtering everything, because the main thing, the thing that is most important, this future event that I am working towards, this goal that I have my mind strategically focused on, is more important than anything else, than any instant pleasure. I do not want to injure my future prospects by saying yes to something that could injure those future prospects, saying yes to something in the present that could injure those future prospects. We can all do this, right? We can ask ourselves some version of, will it make the boat go faster, right? Because all it is it involves considering the potential impact of each decision or action on the desired outcome. So if we have a true desired outcome, if we have a main thing, if we know our why, if we know our purpose, it's not that hard for us to take that metric and run every single thing through that metric. It requires us to focus on efficiency. It requires us to focus on effectiveness. It requires us to focus on eliminating distractions. All of those things don't make the boat go faster. So we focus on the things that do. It encourages us to stay disciplined, to make sacrifices, to prioritize those actions in the present that will have the greatest potential contribution to our future success. Your metric could be, will it make me a better police officer? Will it make me healthier? Will this make me happier? Will this make me a better father? Will this make me better at my job? Will this make me a better husband? Will this make me wealthier? Right? Any of those metrics, if that is the main thing, if that is the why that you are focused on, that is the question you ask yourself with every action. Do you want to go out tonight? Will this make my boat go faster? Do you want to do X, Y, and Z? Will it make the boat go faster? Do you want to go get a bowl of ice cream? Will it make the boat go faster? Right? If you are truly trying to become the best at any one thing, this simple metric will have a greater impact on you than anything else you could do, because it focuses you into doing less better. Everything you say no to is something you can say yes to that will make the boat go faster. Anything that you say no to is eliminating a distraction that's going to make the boat go slower. It works in both ways. It's addition by subtraction. It's doing less better. So coming back and revisiting that quote in the back here, enjoy present pleasures in such a way as not to injure future ones, right? Ask yourself a single filtering question, whatever it is. Attach it to your main thing, that one big gnarly goal that you have at the end of the road that you're marching towards, the most important thing. And just try this. Try it for a week. Try it for a month. If you can muster up the ability, try it for a year. Focus every effort, everything that you do through a single metric. Ask yourself your version of that one question. Will it make the boat go faster? All right, so here's a journal prompt I'm going to send you off with today to help you get your mind thinking about this. All right, I want you to take out your pen and pencil, take out your notebook, ask you this ask yourself this journal prompt. Write it down. What singular question can I ask myself today that will ensure I prioritize actions that benefit me in the future? Right? So if your goal is I want to be the lieutenant of whatever patrol, property crimes, whatever it is, write that down. That's what I want to be. And then ask yourself, what singular question can I ask associated to that that's going to get me to that goal? Will this improve my resume? Will this improve my product? Whatever it is, that's going to be the metric that you focus on. And I want you to try a full week of asking and answering that question as often as you can. Will this make the boat go faster? Worked for the British rowing team at the 2000 Olympics. It can work for you too. Folks, we'll be back with 3 more episodes this week. That's what I've got for you. Before we get going, I want to remind you to check out Blue Badge Coffee Company. If you're watching on the YouTube, you can see the cap I'm wearing. Check out Blue Badge Coffee Company. Every single purchase a portion of it goes to support peer support programs, law enforcement agencies and departments around the country. Also be sure to check out the Overwatch Collective, great 501c3 organization that is providing paid for and confidential therapy services to first responders around the nation. Support those 2 great brands, those 2 great organizations that are doing so much to support other law enforcement officers. And a reminder, if you are law enforcement, if you are a first responder, if you've got a brand that is doing something great for our community, let me know, and I will make sure to get my listeners on board with your brand or product as well. Folks, if you want to support this podcast, you can pick up a copy of my book, In Valor, 365 Stoic Meditations for First Responders. Anywhere that you get your books, you can get it at my website. You can get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, wherever you get your books. You can get it in Kindle or paperback. Number 2, if you want to support this website, you can go over to the Stoic Responder podcast on Substack. You can sign up right there to the Stoic Responder podcast. And number 3, and this is the easiest thing, if you want to support this podcast, please like and subscribe and share these episodes with others so that they can get a little bit of the Stoic wisdom that we're giving out over here that can help them lead happier and healthier lives and careers. Guys, that's what I got for you today. We'll see you on Wednesday. Until then, you are out of roll. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to subscribe, like, rate, and share this podcast so that we can spread the benefits of Stoicism to other first responders. It will only take you a few moments, but it can help us tremendously. Until next time, out of roll.